What's up everybody, Frank AZHP Collectibles here, bringing you something special. Typically on this channel you'll see my mail time episodes, my card show pickups and walkthrough videos, and the occasional box break or pack opening, including the new Versus series that I launched last month. But every once in a while I'll do something special with a higher production quality, and last year for my 100th episode, I did a How I Store and Organize My Cards special, which was a lot of fun to produce. And I was told it really helped people think about their organization and storage process. So now for my 200th video, I'm giving you a behind the scenes special on how I create my video content. Some have asked me why I would give this information away like it's some kind of secret, but I'm not in any popularity contest, and I do this as a hobby for fun. This will be kind of a part behind the scenes vid and part tutorial vid. As usual for all of my videos, you can skip to specific sections using the timestamps in the description or on the video timeline. Before I get started, I want to thank all of you for the support throughout the last year, and all of your likes and comments are very much appreciated. If you appreciate these videos and you want to show support, please tackle the like button and leave me a comment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Only a small percentage of those who watch are subscribers. Speaking of subscribers, in order to give thanks to all of those subscribers, I'm giving away a ton of great stuff, including 4 $25 gift certificates to DePhoenix Card Shop, 3 bulk PSA submissions with grade prep included from DT Sports Cards, 5 card art bundles from Gypsy Oak, and 2 bundles of supplies, each of which comes with a Chandler Gilbert Card Show t-shirt. Details will be at the end of the video, as I don't want to delay the content any further. Now, out of all the content that I produce here, the card show walkthrough and pickups videos are the most complicated, since they use the most equipment and require the most editing. So I'm going to use that as a base, specifically the Chandler Gilbert card show from Saturday, July 15th, and I will cover what cameras I use, how I set that equipment up, how I record using that equipment, and how I edit those recordings. You don't need high-end equipment to make content. As prominent videographers like Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon always say, it's not always about what equipment you have, it's about what you do with it. That being said, I am covering here what I do, and I intentionally go overboard with equipment and editing, just because I find the creation process fun and I want to challenge myself. But please don't let your lack of equipment compared to mine discourage you from making content with what you have available. I will have links to the equipment that I use in the description, so if you're interested, you can check them out for yourself. For recording footage, I use a dash cam, my phone, a DSLR, and a webcam. The dash cam I use is a Vantrue N2 Pro. It records 1080p 30 FPS in 2 directions. I could just change the settings to 1080p 60 FPS front only, since the camera is all I use in my videos, but I don't render in 60 FPS, so the 30 FPS is fine. It records on a micro SD card, and I use a 256 gig SD card. This Vantrue N2 Pro I have is an older model. It goes for around $140 now, since Vantrue put out a N4 Pro model. I can't speak on the quality of the newer N4 Pro, but I've had the N2 Pro since November of 2018. I paid $200 for it, and it's been great. The point of the front recording on the dash cam shows my travel to a card show that's cut to start when I hop on the freeway, and is sped up usually to match the length of my intro, which is around the 2 to 3 minute range. I totally stole the idea of using a dash cam on the way to a show from Wax Museum podcast, so shout outs to Wax Museum. My phone is a OnePlus 6, so it's a little bit dated by 2023 standards, but it records in 1080p 30 FPS fine, and is used to record both at shows to do the walkthrough and at home to record the front cam of the triple screen. The webcam that I use is a basic Logitech C920, which does an average job of 1080p 30 FPS and is used to record the face cam of the triple screen. The DSLR I use is a Canon Rebel T6i, and it's used for the top cam on my overhead rig, which I will detail later in the video. I got my camera in 2018. So it's an older model nowadays, but the most comparable model now is the T8i, which goes for around the $850 range. The difference between a T6 and T6i or T8 and T8i are notable, so if you're going to buy one, as the I versions have a flippable touchscreen, which can be useful in certain situations, even if I don't use it for my overhead rig setup. So I covered each particular camera that I use. Now I'll cover how I physically set those cameras up and what equipment I use to do so. I don't really need to set up how I cover the dash cam accessories up. It's a suction cup on a windshield, enough said. As for my phone, I use that to do the walkthrough while I'm at shows, and I started using a medium duty selfie stick for additional support and access to get better showcase shots without having to bend over or bump into the showcase. I don't even extend the selfie stick all the way, nor do I hold it by the handle most of the time. I usually just hold it halfway up for the extra stability and control, and it also prevents me having to readjust my grasp on the camera, which could obviously lead to a dropped phone or me accidentally covering the phone's microphone, causing some audio issues and audio cutouts. I could use my DSLR for walkthroughs for a better quality video, but modern phones have a built-in software video image stabilizer. It makes it easier to get walkthrough shots without a walking bounce effect, and prevents me having to carry around a stabilizer or gimbal. Plus, when I produce these videos, I have to set some production quality limit for myself for time and convenience sake. Otherwise, I would spend too much time on each video, which I probably do already. The triple view, when I'm here at home on my overhead rig, is where things really start getting interesting, as I have that face cam, front cam, and top cam, and it's all on a custom built overhead rig table. I'll start with the tabletop. I use a simple white IKEA Linman tabletop with the basic IKEA Atlas legs, though I did modify the structure of the table and I added a 1/2-inch piece of plywood to the bottom of the tabletop for added structure. I use another plain white Linman tabletop that doesn't have legs attached that I just set on the wall in the background to keep everything a minimalist, universal, flat white look, as otherwise you'd see the differing color and texture of the wall. White is not only just a stylized choice for minimalism purposes, but it also easily bounces light and allows colors of the subject to pop out, which is super useful with collectibles. The front cam shot on the triple camera setup is my phone on a basic adjustable phone stand I paid a whopping $10 for, and I secure it to a specific spot on the tabletop using blue painter's tape. Pretty simple there. The face cam shot is the webcam mounted on an older model GorillaPod SLR Zoom from Joby. I paid $40 for it. It's overkill. I chose that tripod originally because of its great reviews from vloggers and because it could also handle the weight of my DSLR. It supports up to 3 kilos, which is 6.6 pounds. The newer Joby GorillaPod model that supports 3 kilograms is also around a $40 range. Now, I don't need one that good for holding the lightweight budget webcam that I use, which is why I say it's overkill. And I could get away with using a 1 kilo weight tripod instead, but it's already in my arsenal of equipment, so I might as well use it. The top cam is mounted to a white steel closet pole from Home Depot that I cut down to a specific size with my miter saw, and I used pole sockets to connect it from a wall to a shelf. I then used a metal drill bit to create a hole at the proper angle for an overhead shot, and then I picked up a set of screws that use the same thread as a DSLR mounting plate, so I can attach the screw and attach the DSLR. Later down the road, I could go even further and make it more convenient, add like a quick release plate or even a tripod head on the end to where I could easily snap it on and off, but it hasn't been a priority. I don't take my DSLR down often enough for it to be inconvenient. A few downsides of the DSLR being mounted on the metal closet pole is it does block access to the battery compartment on the back of the DSLR, but I picked up a power adapter so that I don't have to switch new batteries in all the time while it's mounted. having the DSLR mounted also does make it a little difficult to make camera settings changes, as I can't view the camera's screen since it's on the top. So I use the camera's mini HDMI out and plug it into an external monitor that is mounted to the wall using a small VESA wall mount. That not only allows me to make any menu changes or adjust my focus, but also see what my subject is when I'm showing it on camera. So sometimes when you see me look up, that's what I'm looking up at. And finally, as for lighting, I have a ton of these cheap clamp work lights that you can get for around 12 bucks on Amazon or Walmart. I use 100 watt daylight bright 1400 lumen 5000 Kelvin LED bulbs. It's got a nice bright white light instead of something that comes out yellow, like a warm look, which can affect how colors on these subjects are displayed. And I actually have like a professional lighting kit with stands, umbrellas, photography bulbs, and all that, but it's unnecessary for something that I want to keep simple and compact. Plus, the clamps allow me to reposition the light for photography purposes so I can get great photos of my collection. So my phone records internally, as you'd expect, and when I'm recording at the show walkthroughs, I use the default camera app on my phone. But when I'm at home on the triple cam for the front cam view, I use an Android app called Open Camera, which kind of unlocks the full camera view of my particular phone instead of limiting my view to what the default camera app offers. Limiting the view in the camera options could just be like a OnePlus 6 issue or Oxygen OS issue, which is what OnePlus runs. Your phone may vary depending on what your options are. The webcam that I use for the face cam is connected to my computer using a USB extension cable since it's so far away from my computer, and I use Streamlabs desktop to record locally, but any streaming or recording program should work just fine, assuming you have your camera settings configured on both the operating system level and in the program. The top cam using the DSLR records on an SD card, which I can remove when finished and just copy over files using a standard USB 3.0 card reader. Now, I've had a lot of experience in recording and matching multiple video feeds together for editing due to my video gaming, streaming, and tournament organization background. So I've been doing this for a long time, so it's kind of easy to me. But a very important tip in recording multiple feeds is to make sure that you have a sync point, so that when you slap the files into your video editing program, you know where the feeds should match up, so that you don't have to spend a ton of time on matching audio with moving lips. Now, I use a double clap method to sync up my video and audio feeds from all the cameras, and since I can't do a clap in a position that is seen by all three cameras at once, I do two sets of claps. One is for the top cam and the front cam, and then the other set is for the top cam and the face cam. Now I'm going to record the footage for the most recent card show video, which is the Chandler Gilbert card show that I had mentioned. And I'm going to start with the sync clap so that you guys can see an example, and then we'll move on to the video editing process. Start on webcam, phone airplane mode, so that I don't get any calls or anything. I'm using the Open Camera software so that I get a full view. And overhead rig. Boom. Recording. So, first thing I do is my clap. Double clap here. Double clap here. You'll see why that's important in the editing process. And now I can start whenever I feel like it. I do have a little cheat sheet up here. It tells me the date, some of the things that I need to cover on the intro, and then I just roll with it from there. All right, now we got our footage and we're ready to go over video editing. Now I've got over 20 years of video editing experience on PC. I started with Sony Vegas back in the day, and I made the switch to Adobe Premiere about 7 or 8 years ago. Of course, you don't have to use Premiere. You can use whatever you want, whether it's Final Cut Pro on a Mac or DaVinci Resolve because it's free. But I love Premiere for its quick rendering time, its easy shortcut keys, its compatibility with PSD files directly from Photoshop, and of course its compatibility with Adobe After Effects files. I also edit on a triple monitor PC setup, so my resolution is 5760 by 1080, and I edit fairly quickly, so sorry if it's a little tough to keep up. I'll try to focus the view on what I'm doing on the editing program, but you may want to be ready to pause the video on occasion to see where I am and what I'm doing. I have added a yellow circle on my mouse cursor to make it a little easier to follow along. Also, keep in mind the video editing section will not be scripted, so pardon me for any of the randomness. And of course, as with any video editing, some things will get repetitive when you have to play things back and forth and just to make sure everything sounds and looks right. So it may get a little annoying. It's not for everybody. If you're not into the video editing process, you can just skip to the end of the video. Okay, so we're on the editing portion of the video, and I'm not making an Adobe Premiere Pro tutorial. That's not this video. That would be hours long, and the last thing I want to do is stick a huge Premiere Pro tutorial in the middle of a nicely cut and edited, 15 to 20 minute video. So I will do a walkthrough of what is already done, because I've already done all of the editing process at this point. So I'm giving you a rundown after the fact instead of a step-by-step. So as you can see here, first I got my timeline up here. First 30 to 35 seconds is the intro, which you've seen before, and then my After Effects file, which leads into blank white transition, which then leads into the drive. So you can see, I have a bunch of layers here as well, but this is important to note: front cam, top cam, face cam. Obviously, none of that is right here in the first minute, but if I scroll later, you can see. Let me pan out here. As you can see here, face cam, top cam, front cam. I do try to structure a lot of this stuff for those three, and then right above those layers I have the card design, which in this case is a 1957, and that's because I picked up a graded 1957 card. And then I have a border here, and that border is literally just that black border, black and white borders on the outside. You see how ugly it is if I take it away. You got some edges over here, and there's the side is kind of poking through the card over there and stuff like that. But let me turn border back on. So yeah, I do use a border that I made in Photoshop. In fact, I have one that does not have the line here or the line here as well, that I will use when I go full screen on stuff, which I don't always do like I should, but I do have a secondary border for that as well. Going back to the beginning real quick here, I'm not going to play the intro and show you the whole thing there, but you can see we got the whooshes down here, or sound effects when something pops up. Where I show a walkthrough. Yeah, you get the idea. And then this part is all the drive to the show, where do I have this layers here? Oh, there we go. So I just stuck it on the top cam. Like if I'm not using face cam, top cam, and front cam, then I will just place whatever in any position because it doesn't really matter. I will make little side notes here as well, which you can see. There's the side note and probably the ding or the pop. Saturday, July 16th. I use the pop. I use a number of sound effects. I use a ding, I use a pop, I use a whoosh. It just depends on the situation. I try not to do too much audio engineering. I don't want to over-engineer everything. Here's a whoosh, I think. Subscribe. Yeah. It is very much appreciated. And then those are clicks. It's another After Effects file there. So you can see there's the drive. I do a fade. One of my three fades. I either do a hard cut, or I do a cross dissolve, which you can see I dissolve one out while I dissolve one in. Looks pretty smooth. And then the other one is the white that I showed you at the beginning, either white or black, depending on what I am showing. So there's the fade to white there. It goes from black to white, and then white is just to the background. Let's see, anything else relevant? I guess I can cut to the end real quick, or I can cut to the triple cam. So here's triple cam. I did use another cross dissolve here, so it just dissolves into the background. The movement right here for the background is keyframes. As you can see, motion up here. I have a keyframe here, and as it moves, and then I have the keyframe there. So you get the idea. And then I think I do a hard cut right here. Oh no, I actually do a whoosh right there for now. Yeah, which I accidentally moved over a file, and that's why it's awkward. There we go. Let's see. So I used a quick transition and a whoosh there. This is pretty self-explanatory. If I have something pop up, once again, it's with the whooshes and the... I use a push transition on those whooshes. They are very short. They are, 0.3 seconds. So, very, very quick. And depending on what side of the screen they're on, sometimes I will bring them in or bring them out on the same side or a different side. I don't really want them crossing over existing content if I'm trying to or if I have them positioned on the side. If they're in the middle like this, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what side they come in or leave. But, if it's something if it was only this one, the OTE box, then I would just have it come in on the right and then have it leave on the right. Nothing too complicated here. Here's a ding. There's one of my other sound effects. The Phoenix card shop. And, yeah, and that's pretty simple there. So, yeah, that's pretty much the rundown. Did I keep it? Yeah, 6 minutes. Fair enough. Background's got some stuff, too, like the Twitter and Instagram pans, which are just captured video, and then I slap it in there and I crop it. So, if I look over here at my crops, you can see there's a lot going on the crops to fit in this space for Twitter and Instagram. Probably less on Instagram. Yeah, but still some crops there. And then the ending screen where I have the 4 squares. They're all 15 seconds long, which is just enough for the subscribe and the 3 suggestion videos. And then I keep the audio going until it either naturally fades out like in here, or I will set keyframes and manually lower the volume myself. So that's pretty much the editing process. It's weird to show you on single screen. Since I normally work on triple screen, this is a lot different, but back to the content. And that concludes the editing process. After that, I will upload it to YouTube, create the description, the end screen, the info cards, upload a thumbnail, and schedule it for release. If you have any particular questions regarding the entire process, whether it be on the equipment or the editing, leave the question in the comments and I'll be happy to answer it. Okay, it is giveaway time. I covered what the giveaway items are at the beginning of the video. I will tell you how to enter, and then I'll tell you how and when the winners will be chosen. In order to enter, you gotta leave a comment below on this video with answers to 3 questions. Number 1, what is your favorite thing about collecting? Number 2, what or who do you collect? And number 3, what is your favorite thing about my channel or content? This is all free to enter, but you must be a subscriber of the channel. You must be at least 18 years old and a resident of the United States, and it must be done by Monday, July 31st, 2023 at 5 p.m. That same day at 6 p.m. PST, I will go live here on YouTube with a list of all who entered, and I will use a list randomizer to select the winners. If your prize is a physical prize like the Gypsy Oak cards or the Supplies and Chandler Gilbert Card Show t-shirt bundles, I can either give them to you at a local show, since I go to almost all of them anyway, or I can ship them to you. If the prize is a service like DT Sports Cards bulk PSA submission with grade prep, then I will set you up with details on how to get your submissions in. In the case of the gift certificates for the Phoenix Card Shop, I can either email one to you or give one to you in person at a local card show, and they can be spent either on the website, thephoenixcardshop.com, or in person at one of the many monthly card shows that they are a dealer at. As per YouTube's policies, there are links to the official rules as well as YouTube's contest policies and guidelines page in the description below. And that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please give the video a like and subscribe and all that other kind of good stuff. Also, check me out on social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads, and I post 3 times a day, 5-6 days a week. Kind of depends on what I'm feeling and how often I release videos. And other than that, go check out thehobbyboards.com for some great communication on a message board forum style system for other fellow collectors. Thank you very much once again for joining me on my 200th video. Hopefully you enjoy the production quality. It took me a lot of time to put all this stuff together. And I'll see you in the next vid. Peace.